As I sit here with my first playthrough of Cyberpunk 2077, I am truly amazed at the game that I play, and I am in disbelief of what CDPR was able to accomplish. And after the terrible rollout, they were able to update and bring the game to a state that it is now. After the Phantom Liberty update, that I feel Cyberpunk is in a league of its own, and Cyberpunk 2 may do what we wished Saints Row could have. If CDPR is given the true full length of time needed to masterfully craft everything that they need to make Cyberpunk 2 the game we want it to be, the game we know it could be, in my opinion, we're set for a new level of gaming to come out, I'll say 2026 and beyond. This is a different type of game. I've played roleplay games, I've played Fallout, I've played Skyrim, but I've never done GTA as roleplay, as as the character. I'm always third person. I'm controlling the character, but I'm not them. But I feel like with Cyberpunk, you are V. Your version of V, whatever version that may be, you are V. And your actions dictate other actions of other players in the world. And I find that really, really compelling. And I haven't finished my first official playthrough. This is just me playing the game, and I'm in Act 3, and I haven't went beyond the point of no return. So I'm finishing up all of the side missions and other things that I feel are necessary to get a grand or the best ending of the game based on what I know. Now I have I have not finished the game, but the game in its current state deserves a 2. Hell, I'd settle for a 2.5. Just use the original map and just come back with a newer story with the minor tweaks or something. I'll take it. I mean, that would be fine with me, but I mean, I feel like we get that with Phantom Liberty, which I haven't played, but I've seen the play. I've seen clippings on it. And it brings me into the combat. Like with GTA, the fucking NPCs really only drop money, maybe. You know what I mean? You always have to go somewhere secondary to pick up the loot. You know what I mean? I wish this changes, but for Cyberpunk, it fits so well in the roleplay, game. It's maybe I do want a little more with like a dynamic uh, inventory. You know what I mean? Like, what if instead of an inventory menu that pops up, you do a pan out third person of the character, and then like you can click on the pockets, and each pocket has a different type of storage capacity or sizing. You know what I mean? Different ways to like change up the existing gameplay that we have. But this game looks unlike anything I've ever played before. I don't think I've ever really spent as much time just roaming in a city as I've done in Cyberpunk. I find myself walking a lot in Cyberpunk. I'll walk to the next place. Like, I use the vehicles when needed. I rarely ever use time travel unless it was just somewhere completely across the map and I just needed to do one thing at a Ripper Dock and then right back to where I'm going. But I don't see myself in a rush in this game. I don't I don't feel like, oh, I have to get to the next story beat. It's always at your leisure. at your leisure. It's whenever you feel like it's good. Okay, you feel like you've done enough. Don't do the optional side quest. Just get back into it, guns blazing. And that's brings me into the character building. I decided to just I take it as a first person shooter. Heavy crit damage, heavy damage all around. This is what I prefer. But also see the points of interest that can be gained by doing it with the stealthy approach, the cyberware approach, the more tech approach where you can actually, I rarely ever used most of like I jack in, but I rarely ever use any of the quick hacks. You know what I mean? And I know that it'll change different playthroughs of the game because I don't even use melee weapons. It's all guns. Like I just use guns in the game. So being that different storylines or origin stories give you different dialogue options, which affect the way other they're not even NPCs, the other characters of the game and their reactions and things you didn't know happened after or not on screen, but it's because of you interacting, you being V, your decisions make up what it is Night City is for you. And that, in my opinion, is really satisfying. So what does Cyberpunk 2 do? How do you innovate on this? What is the next evolution of this story? How do you make more compelling gameplay mechanics? Or do you stick to what you know, what's good, and then you just refine them so they're hyper polished, so they're extremely advanced? Or do you just take the bones, add the same coat of paint, but change the perspective from what is the oppression of the people and the rise up and the resistance of it? Or do you go to the corporal side where you are the big bad guy in the tower making the decisions? Now I know it goes against the whole punk aesthetic, but it would be a change up. It would be a different perspective on the same narrative we've already got. I don't mind games that try new things. I just hate when they try new things poorly. Like if you're gonna do something new in video games, do it all the way, bro. Just do it all the way. Don't half step it to make it more convenient for the lesser people. You know what I mean? Like, or give me the option, but give me the fully fleshed out option. Don't give me the half baked cookie cutter option. Because I look at this game and the architecture in it, the styling, everything is like, what if the 80s never, like, what if the 80s just never, that was the peak of humanity? Like, when I see the cyberpunk aesthetic, I see the future, but it's so old. So, like, the tech is advanced, but the understanding of the world hasn't. It's still so heavy on the capitalism that when you get into the rundown sections, you can actually see the totality of what's going on in the narrative. And that's another thing. The narrative and just narrative storytelling. No, not narrative storytelling. The environmental storytelling of the game is you walk up on let's say, a police that's already been down, but you find a shard and you read it and you understand a better understand of what the events that led up to this, where you walk upon a body. You see what I'm saying? I really feel like there's something more to this game that hasn't truly been explored but we were only given a spoon-fed option. And with that spoon-fed option, we were still only given a fraction of what I think we were supposed to be delivered, but it's still a heaping handful of. I mean, it's finesse, man. You got to look at this game, bro. Like you go to the top of a building and just pan out and just see the story built on just the story of the how the city was built. You know what I mean? Like I find myself in Cyberpunk watching architecture more than I ever have. Like I've never stared at a building in GTA and thought someone really had to construct that. Someone really thought about how that would work. It's just background filler where I feel like in Cyberpunk, the building, the environment, everything helps tell the story in a more compelling way. Like when we get to the scene with Judy, 3 minutes. We're here for 3 minutes. But everybody's looking at Judy. But I'm looking at this neon drenched dystopia in the background. And I just want to be in that more than I want to be here. But I understand being here is a part of what makes the city great. And that is what I think changed my mind on why Cyberpunk should you should definitely give it a second try. If you only tried it in the first 2 years of release, this is fundamentally the game I was assuming would be coming as a screw you to GTA, to Grand Theft Auto. But if we can get Cyberpunk 2 with an online aesthetic, because I would want more than anything to just have a gang in Cyberpunk that is my gang, my crew, my people. And yeah, we go up against the other gangs in the city. Like we find a little niche, and that's just our niche. This is what we do. You know, imagine CDPR, a CDPR game that has online capabilities that allows role play aesthetics to be like 5M, but for Cyberpunk. I would play that. I could play that another 13 years. Give me the same city that we already have, but give me the option to create my own narrative story. I'm all for that. Like that's what I wanted GTA roleplay to be. What I got in single player Cyberpunk. So if we can get Cyberpunk 2, whatever date they set it in, to have an online aesthetic that allows other players to join in. So I'm not just walking around looking at NPCs. I'm not just walking around looking at characters. I am my version of what I want to be in Night City. That I feel is the next evolution to Cyberpunk. Like how when we got Saints Row, the first one was just mastering the mechanics. The second one was like, all right, if you mastered the mechanics, how would you take over the city after that? You see what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like with the story we got of Cyberpunk 2077, it was the corporate overlord and Rocker's revenge mixed with passion and side beat stories that rounded it out. But I feel like the next version should be more me, less them. You see what I'm saying? I feel like it can do something we haven't had in gaming up to this date. Because the aesthetic is there, the vibe is there, the feel is there. But I don't feel like there was enough time to build the mechanics within the game to make it tangible. It seems like everything is just out of reach in Night City. Like at one point, I ain't gonna lie, in my playthrough, I've had 400,000 eddies, 400,000 eddies, but that can be spent on one Ripper Dock section. one Ripperdoc section can wipe it. You know what I mean? So, what is obtainable in Night City? Well, not even obtainable. What is sustainable in a world where everything is grown in a lab off a petri dish? What is biotechnica to this equation where everything that looks like old tradition is exactly that, an aesthetic, but there's no actual nutritional value given. You see what I'm saying? If actual food and true things that are organic to this earth are only for those in the elite, the upper, what are you to be left with your double XL burrito from a vending machine that is based off a plant based meat protein? So if everything is just to make it look like something it isn't, if everything is in disguise, what is the disguise that we are blind to as V, as Johnny Silverhand? What are we non aware to what is going on in the city that involves us in more ways than we can imagine? Like think I don't think Cyberpunk 2 can fail in the way that Cyberpunk 1 did, for the simple fact that every developer knew the game wasn't ready, but the corporation was like, it has to go out before Grand Theft Auto. And that hindered it, that lost its initial, possibly just cultural, just, you know what I mean? Like staying power. Like it's relevant now, but it could have remained relevant as that viable option, with a high player base. But what we have now is individuals pretty much Cyberpunk, in my opinion, is Witcher 3. It's an unbelievable masterpiece that 80% of gamers have never played. Like, I can't tell you, as a person who enjoys first person shooters or Call of Duty or Fortnite, that you should play Cyberpunk, but I can tell you, as a person that loves shooting mechanics, there's no reason why you shouldn't be playing Cyberpunk to at least get a different feel on the same trope. And that brings me into the driving of Cyberpunk. Driving in Cyberpunk, when you compare it to GTA, it feels odd. But when you remove it from that comparison, it feels natural to the city. Like every car I drive in Cyberpunk feels like it's being assisted by technology in some type of way. I don't know how else to describe it. It reacts not in a mechanical, tactile way where it is exact. It is more of a, here, I'm issuing you a command, and then a half second, 2 seconds later, the command is played. Like there's a computer interface that I'm having to wait upon. Even like with different cars you still on the street, like even the muscle cars, they feel weighty and boaty, but in a delayed way that isn't instant and reactive, like how when it is when you play GTA Online. It is a difference that I've come to enjoy because it's more along the lines of like GTA 4, but like imagine GTA 4 physics, but set in the future where it's computer assisted. You know what I mean? It's still weighty, it's still boaty, but it can be snappy, it can be responsive under the right settings. You see what I'm saying? It's like, it's almost as if like all of the driving physics in the game are just slightly off of the right setting. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I wish there were like it was more in depth, like how with clothing is, how with guns are, you know what I mean, how with building your characters are. Now if you could take that and make that into the cars, the vehicles, the way of travel in Night City, you have a fundamentally different game. I ain't gonna lie, I would call that cyberpunk racing. You know what I mean? This would be cyberpunk 2065 racing. You know what I mean? This is a different type of game, but it would allow you the ability to say it was like a death race where you could have a passenger that works as like a derby driver. He's like your directions, but he also can lean out the side of the car and just shoot shit up. You know what I mean? Like it would be a mix of genres, but I would play that. Like I would play that as a function inside of Cyberpunk 2, but I if it's like this, I would play that as a standalone game. You know what I mean? As a person that is into video games, who likes a set of Corsa, who's played BeamMG, I understand the depth needed. So instead of trying to cram it all into one open world game, give us three small open world games where one's a corridor shooter, one's a looter, like a looter stealth game, and then the third is like a racing, and then give us a final fourth game that is all three of those packaged together in a way that works cohesively. You see what I'm saying? Because you can't play Cyberpunk and say that there is not depth. Depth is, I feel like that was one of the core foundations on what was on the table when they were making the game. It was always, well, all right, if you do that, then what would be the next step? Okay, if you've done X and Y, well, how did you get to Z? You know what I mean? With the crafting mechanics, with all the other things, you know what I mean, in the game. I feel like the cars were they were on the back burner. They were like, if we can get around to it, we'll make it happen. But it's not essential. You know what I mean? Like I say, I find myself walking in Night City. Like if I have the double jump attached, I will literally just bounce around the city, just finding little nooks and crannies and different types of, you know what I mean, blendings of architecture. Like when you move from one area in the town to a different area, a different district has a different feel, but the transition, the blocks in between where you can see what used to be and also appreciate what's coming, those are the things that I've come to appreciate most in Cyberpunk. So I know I started off with asking what would Cyberpunk 2 be like for you, but as this more of like my retrospective, I don't I don't know. I don't know what I truly would want from a Cyberpunk 2. I know I want it. I know I'm ready to experience it, but I don't think I can fully conceptualize it. You know what I mean? And high praises to those who have to, who have to sit there and actually work out the architecture. Like if Night City was in LA and they're saying we're going to Chicago for Cyberpunk 2, how does that work? You know what I mean? Like the just terrain differences, but just between being across the country, you know what I mean? Let alone the aesthetics change in different regions. If you've ever been to a different state, you know when you're in a different state because it has a different feel to it. So let alone a city inside of a state that is hundreds of miles away, hundreds of, you know what I mean, thousands of miles away. You know what I mean? I feel like the new Night City we get, I mean, I don't think it really just needs to change much for it to be great. I just think we need to have more options that aren't scripted. You know what I mean? Like we should just have the option to just it says go to point A, it says take out person. It's up to you however you want to do it. You want to use a fucking crane and run them over, if you want to long shot them with a sniper, if you want to run up on them and drag his body and hide it, you know what I mean? It should be left up to you almost as if just cause, but the story can be more based off side content. So the story is passed along as you progress through side content, and all of the main stuff is mainly for building the levels. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think we should change up the way we design games. I understand that it won't happen because corporate overlords have taken over what used to be indie game studios. Everything's getting bought up. But why not at this point? Yes, it works. Don't fix it. But if it's stagnant, it should be stared. It should be stored. Stir it up. Like you gotta mix that shit up every now and then, bro. You have to make it more. It can't always be the same. But I don't know. I feel like I'm just rambling at this point. This was Mr. Esau. This is my predictions, wish list, and retrospective review on Cyberpunk 2077. I have to admit, I was thoroughly surprised. And I don't, I don't know. We deserve a second game, but I don't know if we'll truly get it. You know what I mean? Because the people that played The Witcher 1, The Witcher 2, they're not the same person that played Witcher 3 as the only entry into the, you know what I mean? That game is fundamentally different than those two. Like they built upon what was there, but imagine Cyberpunk 3 if this is the case. This is a game with, and I hate to say it just because it was the way it was released, but with the right amount of time, can be what what we play next after we're tired of GTA 6 when it comes out in March. I don't know. I'm on to, I think the next game I'll play once I finish this will be Kingdom Come Deliverance. And I think I will start uploading. Maybe not once a week at the start, but once a month, once every 2 months, until I get you know, my way of doing it down. You know what I mean? If I can get a certain, you know what I mean, I'll go from there. But as of now, I am just truly at awe of what I've played so far in Cyberpunk, and I'm excited for its conclusion so I can prep for what happens on the other side. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow. This again was Mr. Esau, and signing out.